Bublé and the Beast, a Christmastime romance novel by Rebecca Scott Lord. I can't believe you're canceling on me, I sigh into the phone. I'm so sorry, pleads my best friend in the whole world, Allison. My boss called and asked if I could work, and everyone else is sick or on Christmas vacation already. I couldn't say no. We've had these tickets to the Michael Bublé is Coming to Town tour for months, ever since Michael Bublé announced in July that he'd be coming to our town. You know how much this means to me, I say. I'm really sorry, Rachel. You should go and have a blast. I wish I could be there with you. And who knows, maybe you'll meet a guy who appreciates Michael Bublé as much as you do. I giggle. You're right. I'll have a great time. And I know you wish you could come. What are you wearing? Asks my best friend Allison. My blue velvet wrap dress, I say. Oh, the one that has a hint of green and perfectly matches your eyes? You'll be sure to attract a man in that one. Oh, Allison, I say, laughing. You know I've sworn off men since the last boyfriend. You're still hurting from Bobby Flay? Allison pries. A car honks outside. The taxi's here. Have fun at work. I hang up the phone. Do one last check on my shoulder-length, slightly wavy dark hair and simple fresh makeup, then run out the door to the jazz club. Inside, it's dimly lit, the dark room clustered with small tables, each lit by a scattering of tea lights. I order a mulled wine at the bar and wind my way over to a table near the stage, happy to have come a bit early. I'm so lucky to get to see my favorite Canadian jazz singer-songwriter in such an intimate space. The crowd slowly filters in, and before I've even gotten halfway through my warm spiced wine, the lights dim and a hush falls over the crowd. Michael Bublé steps onto the stage, and my heart stops. Then Michael Bublé takes up the old-fashioned silver microphone and sings into it. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. My heart starts up again while the audience cheers and claps. I'm breathless and take another sip of wine. My eyes are fixed on him crooning into the mic, alone on stage. I barely even notice when the musicians come on and play behind him, or when two dancers in shimmering red dresses appear beside him, swaying to the tune of the songs. Michael Bublé is all I can see. His short hair, tousled just so at the top, the way he grooves to the beat of his songs, the way his perfect lips shape every Christmassy word. He's wearing a very flattering, slim-cut sharkskin suit. Even though it's subtle and everything else is going on behind him, it's like the lights shine only on Michael Bublé. My mulled wine runs out, and I reluctantly tear myself away to get another one. When I get back to my table, the band has started up a jazzy big band arrangement of Blue Christmas. I'll have a blue Christmas, Michael Bublé croons, without you. And at the word you, we briefly make eye contact. A thrill runs through my whole body, and I nervously take a sip of my wine. I start to feel shy staring at him so much, but I can't force my gaze away. His voice deepens, and our eyes lock once more as he belts out the final lyrics. You'll be doing all right with your Christmas of white, but I'll have a blue, 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 blue Christmas. The musicians end with a New Orleans-style crescendo, and Michael Bublé stands behind the mic, panting and sweating with the exertion of the impressive vocal finish. Thank you all so much, he says with a grin. We're going to give the folks in the band a small break and be back in 20 minutes. Don't stray too far. He's speaking to the whole room, I know, but his eyes haven't left mine, and it feels like he's talking directly to me. Then he walks off stage, and I can breathe easily again. I take another sip of my mulled wine and realize that I'm close to finishing my second glass. But the intensity of Michael Bublé's gaze has shaken me to my core. I reach for my phone to text my best friend Allison, when a hand holding another glass of steaming mulled wine comes across my vision. I look up, and it's him, Canadian singer-songwriter Michael Bublé. "Forgive the intrusion," he purrs. I couldn't help but notice that the most beautiful woman in the room was sitting all alone. He hands me the glass, and I accept it with shaking fingers. "Thank you," I murmured demurely. "What's your name?" he asks through a lopsided grin. "Rachel," I managed to say. "I'm delighted to meet you, Rachel," he says. "I'm Michael." "Oh yes, I know," I gasp. His grin grows wider, and his eyes twinkle with the reflection of the tea lights on the table. "Well, thank you for coming to see little old me perform. I didn't know I had such beautiful fans here in town, and certainly not ones with such gorgeous blue-green eyes." He takes my hand in his and kisses it once, tenderly. "I've got to get back on stage, but can I see you after the show?" I nod, dazzled by his proximity. He leaps up with a wink and runs backstage, and the lights dim. The rest of the set is a blur of sensual holiday jazz. In my daze, I think I can recognize Jingle Bells, featuring the Fettuccine Sisters, but not much else. Michael Bublé's bright and deep voice washes over me and fills me to the brim. I do notice him looking over at me throughout the show and think I must have died and gone to heaven. After, a woman in a sparkling red dress comes over to my table. I recognize her as one of the Fettuccine Sisters, the pretty one with the long red curls. It might be my imagination, but she doesn't seem too pleased to see me. "Rebecca, is it?" she snaps. I jump, startled. "No, it's Rachel." "Whatever. Michael wants to see you, for some reason," she drawls. "Come on," she barks impatiently. I jump up and follow her shimmering red back. Now that I look closer, her red hair isn't as lustrous as it seemed under the stage lights. It might even be fake. It at least looks as unnatural as the sequins of her skin-tight gown. We go behind the stage and stop at a door with a handwritten card on it that reads, "Mr. Bublé." The Fettuccine Sister raps twice on the door. "Becky or something here for you, Mr. Bublé," she says in a bored voice, then stalks away. "Come in," calls a voice from within the room. I open the door and walk in. There he is, Michael Bublé in the flesh, lounging next to a crudité platter. "Wow," he says as he stands up. "I didn't notice before, but your dress perfectly matches your eyes." He strides over to me and clasps my hands in his. "I'm so sorry if this seems like too much to you, but I just really wanted to meet you again and tell you how much I enjoyed seeing you in the crowd." "It was my pleasure," I whisper. "You know, you're my favorite musician of all time. I've had a ticket to come since July." His lips part to reveal perfect teeth, and his smile is contagious. I begin to giggle, and we laugh together. Then Michael Bublé takes a step closer to me, and I gasp. He holds the tops of my arms with his strong hands. He takes one of my hands and places it on his chest. "Do you feel that, Rachel?" "My heart is beating so fast right now," he says. I look up into Michael Bublé's chocolate brown eyes and melt. "So is mine," I say. Then he pulls me to him, and we indulge in a deep and passionate kiss. My body has melted so much into his that it's difficult to pull myself away. When I look back into Michael Bublé's eyes, there's a wicked gleam that wasn't there before. "Rachel, I would like to show you something," he says. He backs away, holding eye contact the whole time, and slides off the jacket of his sharkskin suit. It drops to the floor with a whisper, and he begins to unbutton his shirt. When he slips out of it, I see that his chest is crisscrossed with thick black leather straps held together by silver rings. The straps frame his pecs, which are covered in a dusting of hair. Two glints of silver wink at me from beneath the hair, and I see his nipples are both pierced. I follow the line of leather down and see that the harness continues under his dress pants as well. "Did you have this on during the whole show?" I ask, in shock. "Yes," he growls, unbuckling his belt and unbuttoning his pants. They hit the ground with a thud. Black leather hugs his hips, the straps ending in a leather pouch cupping a straining bulge at this crotch. It was damn hot, and now it's time to let loose. He reaches behind the crudité platter and pulls out a black leather riding crop. He whacks it on the table with a crack. I jump. "Now get undressed," he barks. Where was the sweet and sensitive Michael Bublé who brought me a refill in my mulled wine during the interval? But I have to admit, there is something about this devilish and beastly hunk that excites me. He's a man transformed, a modern-day Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I flush. I want him. "Yes, sir," I say with a sigh. To hear the rest of Bublé and the Beast, a Christmastime novel by Rebecca Scott Lord, pre-order your copy now on Amazon.com.